What the fuck was
Are you
that?
laughing at me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you doing? Doing show
I was
tunes over
having
there?
I was having a good time. Little jig.
You never dance.
No.
Ever.
No. Not really.
Dancing's fun.
I'm bad at it.
I like dancing with myself.
I like playing with myself.
Mike Stuglis.
Not tomorrow, though.
Over there.
Or
Likes to
not
play
today.
with himself.
Monday. Yeah.
Hello.
Dan Stewart is dancing with himself.
Yeah.
How are you guys?
What day is it? It's Monday, right?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Oh.
We're having a soft intro here.
What did you ask me?
How are you, Dan?
I'm all right.
So you could be better?
Yeah.
Is it the weather that's putting you down?
No. It's the omelet from earlier. It's catching up to me.
It's putting all of us down.
Yeah.
Right
You had hash browns with it too.
Yeah. Put hot sauce on them. Cholula. Gotta love it. But it puts you out.
You see, I wanted to have this debate, but I didn't get to it. Breakfast stuff. It's clear too that I am the only Tabasco user around in our apartment because you guys are both Cholula.
We don't have
users.
Tabasco here, do we?
No, but I thought you were a Cholula
We
guy.
have Cholula.
I'm not specifically a Cholula guy, but we have Cholula, so I'm using the Cholula because there is no Tabasco.
But there was Tabasco at breakfast today.
It was, and it was on the other side of the table.
Yeah,
And
there
I
was
was just like,
Cholula
well-
on our side of the table. I put the... I'd call myself a specific Cholula guy because, like, Tabasco, I feel like there's no flavor. It's just heat. Cholula, like, tastes good, too.
There's it's more vinegar based than the Tabasco there.
Yeah.
So you just get that bite, but that's what some people go for.
Yeah.
I have no allegiance to the sauces, but I do have an allegiance to the Creatively Challenged podcast. This is our episode for Monday, February 26th. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Nolan, and I think I've introduced the both of you already, but that's Mike Stuglis on my right. Say hello, because this is not visual.
Hello.
Mike Tabasco Stuglis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today I'm Mike Tabasco.
And Dan.
I am Dan Cholula Stewart.
Hawaiian Dan.
It was delicious again today.
It looked like specifically crispy today.
It was.
It
And you
looked
want
like
to know
very
what?
cooked,
Like
like in a good way.
it was. And the cheese was perfectly melty inside. Like it was like eating like a pie. Like the outside egg was almost like a pie crust, and the inside was just so like gooey with cheese, and then the ham and the pineapple. Oh, it was so good.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
The Hawaiian Dan. What is the Hawaiian Dan?
It's an omelet that I make myself at our diner, and every time I ask for it, every waitress, even though I've ordered it many times now, goes like, "Oh, you want the pineapple in the omelet?" It's like, "Yes, sweetheart, I want the pineapple in the omelet because that is what I said."
Mhm.
But that's all right. They do a good job. They put it in there.
They're not used to it because it's not on the menu. I think that's because pineapple's not even an option.
They give
there.
you
They have
yeah,
it,
but they give you the option to create your own omelet.
That's true. Yeah.
I
And
could
they've
say
done it.
put fucking chocolate chips in there, and they'd have to do it then.
They'd be like, "You're gross."
And I'd be like, "I'm paying for it."
It says fresh fish daily on the menu.
I know. I
Well, for
ordered the
the-
snapper.
For the uninitiated, each week here on Creatively Challenged, we talk entertainment news, do a recurring topic, review a movie, and discuss random topics that we bring to this $34 card table. And with that, you guys ready for the news?
It's a year anniversary podcast.
It is, but we were going to talk about that later.
Yeah, but it is.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we made it.
If you've been Well, if you've been listening for a year, please listen to the rest of this podcast, however long this is going to be, and we'll talk about that.
And we still manage to bungle the intro every time.
Oh yeah.
I don't think we've ever had a straight intro,
No.
just like
Only
without
gay
messing it up.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have queer intros.
What's our first story here?
Jessica Chastain, who ever since September 10th, which is the day after It came out, people are like, "Oh, Jessica Chastain should be the adult version of Beverly, the female ginger character in It." And now she is in talks to do it. So everybody just kind of spoke this into reality. But I'm happy about this. Coming off of Molly's Game, the snub from the Academy Awards, Jessica Chastain got snubbed for Best Actress. And now she can probably not get nominated for a role in It Chapter 2.
And if you don't know who that is, because some people get people confused, like I've confused her with Amy Adams.
Common.
She was Murph in Interstellar. She was the main character in Zero Dark 30.
See, I thought people would mistake her for Bryce Dallas Howard more.
That's
Her too.
another one.
That's like they're all kind of in the same genre, like mid-30s or whatever, redheads. So just for sanity's sake, that's who those people
Bryce
are.
Dallas Howard is the daughter of Ron Howard.
Mm-hmm.
And Clint Howard's his ugly
Clint
brother.
Howard is the uncle of Bryce Dallas Howard and the brother of Ron Howard, and he is just hideous. Remember when we kept pulling up pictures of Clint Howard down in your basement?
Yeah, but Jessica Chastain would be a perfect choice for adult Bev because in a lot of her movies she has that, I don't know, she just commands female empowerment when she's on screen. She has that way about her, and that's very much what Bev is about. And adult Bev beats up her abusive husband.
That's right.
I can't wait to see that.
That's going to be awesome.
I hope they do it.
I hope that Clint Howard plays like It.
Not Bill Skarsgård?
Well, Pennywise transforms into like It.
Instead of the big spider thing, it's just
Oh,
gonna be
it's just
Clint
Clint
Howard.
Howard,
And they're like,
yeah.
oh, it's hideous. Oh. It just is a regular guy.
Yeah.
This is my true form.
It's not an 80s movie without Clint Howard typing on a laptop, or not a laptop, just did some sort of screen.
When does Chapter 2 take place?
Yeah, exactly 27 years after.
No, but what's the date of the original? Like the
Time period.
Yeah, the time period it's in. I forgot.
Well, in the book, it's the 50s are the kids, and then the 80s is the adults.
Mm-hmm.
But
What
in
was it in the movie?
but in this movie, the 80s are kids, so it's going to be now when they're adults.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, we are really.
Yeah. We all had like a pot of coffee this morning too.
I know the waitresses are always so. She was so consistent with the coffee, but then with the water, she wasn't.
The waitress who was handling the coffee looked a lot like Rooney Mara and the girl with the dragon tattoo.
I
Yeah.
thought so as well.
And I thought it was going to be mean to say that joke, so now I'm just saying it on our podcast that we say to lots of people. That was a good idea.
Be funny if she listened to it, and she heard me criticize how she fills up coffee too fast. I never had less than half a cup of coffee, and she was already filling up my cup again.
You got to finish to the bottom. No,
I
you got to finish to the bottom.
Oh, that's gonna sound terrible, but we're.
No, it didn't do anything. We're good.
Well, we are, yeah. So, like, I want to see the bottom of my cup or get very close. Like, last quarter, that's maybe when I want another cup of coffee. But, like, I felt like I had the never-ending cup of coffee this morning.
Mm-hmm. Because you got no idea what you've accomplished.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Anything else on the story?
I mean, Jessica Chastain's great. I don't think anybody's not saying that.
Good.
I really wonder if she got casted, if they'd make it. I hope they wouldn't. If they'd make it less of an ensemble piece and more centralized Bev. I hope they wouldn't do that. Because she is a
She's
really
huge.
big name.
I mean,
Maybe in that aspect, I don't want her to do it then.
we're gonna see with the further casting. So they don't have anybody else, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Because the last thing you want is a Orient Express where the ensemble cast is too large.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, out of the kids too, in the newest one, I mean, Finn Wolfhard was the biggest name, and he didn't seem to stand over these kids.
No, definitely not.
So they could handle it, maybe.
that's a
Who
good
knows?
point. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. But, like, the thing is each character gets their own thing, you know, so. If Jessica Chastain has to be, like, the one star for it, I just hope they don't get, like, Bradley Cooper to play, like, an adult Richie.
Bradley Cooper would be an adult Ben.
Yeah.
Because he'd grow up and be handsome.
That's right.
Well,
He's an architect.
What's our next story here?
Martin Scorsese is rumored to be working with HBO, who he previously collaborated for Boardwalk Empire and the show Vinyl. It's rumored that he is working on a epic about Julius Caesar. And Martin Scorsese is the man who is known for tackling epics. And personally, I think this sounds awesome.
I want to see Joe Pesci play Brutus.
He's not. He can't do that anymore. He's too old.
Brutus was old.
Yeah, I guess, but he wasn't in his, going on 80.
No, he was like old for his time, which
Yeah.
was like 40.
Yeah. I think, though, when I was reading about it, is they said it would be more or less tackling a younger Julius Caesar. And he's coming
like
up.
the conquering stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which would be dope.
yeah. I want to see him get stabbed though.
Yeah. If that's like, if it started from like the rise and fall and it was like, however many seasons, that could be really badass.
Yeah, if it's on HBO, like I'm there for the stabbing. Like
Yeah.
every time somebody gets stabbed in Game of Thrones, I always go, ah.
Yeah. Plenty of stab.
Yeah.
But they're saying that they've outlined several seasons worth of stories, so this could be really cool. I thought it was going to be a documentary, but when I first read the headline, but it's cool that it is a narrative now about one of the greatest rulers ever. You're the history guy, probably one of the biggest, right?
He's one of the best He's probably the best Roman military leader ever, definitely.
Okay.
And that would be a really cool story to tell because you could obviously attack the drama side of it, but obviously you have the action as well. And going off Game of Thrones, I just think so many networks are now into this medieval kind of niche that people really like.
So it's Scorsese. Is that like the only thing that's out right now?
Yeah.
Because if
My guess is he'd do the pilot and then be the showrunner.
I'd assume
That's
like
usually what big
because if they
directors do with shows.
Weiss and Benioff though like just got that Star Wars thing, so they're probably out on it.
Well, it's written with, he's writing that with Michael Hurst from Vikings, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you said that in there.
Yeah,
But-
I did not,
Okay.
which is awesome.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Because he's already done good stuff. So, yeah, this will be fun.
Yeah.
I hope it gets done. It scares me though because we constantly have Martin Scorsese news, and he's like 74. But I think everyone's just under the idea that Martin Scorsese is gonna live forever,
I think we got 10 more years of Scorsese.
or he's badass Clint Eastwood and directs till he's like 90.
I heard that train movie was just terrible.
Yeah, I heard that the casting of the real heroes
Because those guys, it's just like they're just not actors.
You can't blame him. It's just a bad decision to do it.
Yeah, like, and maybe it was just like. Do you think Clint like actually is like heavily involved? I know he's the director, but like, do you think he's like still all there?
Sometimes, well, he did Sully, which was really good, and so he's not always the most consistent, but he's always making movies. I just think he likes making movies, and he has some hits and some misses. I really think that's what happens with him
Yeah.
at this stage. I just don't think he gives a fuck.
Because it's like, I think maybe the decision is just like the kicker for this movie is I want to cast the real guys, and then they get to day one of shooting and they're terrible, but like that's going to be the kicker for the film is like I'm going to have the real guys in here, but you're not going to like fire those heroes for
No.
being bad actors, right?
No. And apparently on set, usually the way he works with actors, he doesn't go like action and a hard cut or a hard start to things. He'll just kind of start rolling and then just go, all right, go ahead. And they just ease into their scenes. And so those actors were never ready for it, reportedly.
Be cooler if he was like, go ahead, punk.
It sounds like pleasant to work with him. You'd think it'd be like a stern set.
Oh, Tom Hanks
But
said it was
he's-
awesome
yeah.
doing Sully.
He's just nice.
He said he would just be like, all right, Tom, when you're ready, like you said, and Tom Hanks would do a scene, and he'd finish and like look at Clinton. Clinton would be like, good.
That's
that
so
would be
weird.
it. Maybe he had more fire when he was younger. I don't know.
Who's
But,
to say?
he's Clint Eastwood. He's the man. He could do what he wants. But that movie looked like dog shit.
Gran Torino was like 10 years ago now, 11 years ago.
Yeah, I'm so happy
And-
I finally watched that
Oh
movie.
my god, it's well, it's funny, but like it's not. It's just a great movie. It's Clint Eastwood playing like the only white guy in an Asian gang neighborhood. It's really funny. Because he's racist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not saying the racism's funny, but his lines are funny.
Yeah.
Remember when he's on his porch drinking his PBR in that one scene, and like the grandma looks at him, he's like, "That old bag hates my fucking guts."
It definitely was written to get some laughs at certain
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
so what do we have on
Kowalski.
this?
Yeah.
All right. Our next story. Jurassic World 3 is to hit theaters June 2021. We have the new Jurassic World coming out. What's the subtitle of that? It's like
Fallen Kingdom.
Fallen Kingdom,
Life
where
finds a way.
they ask yet again, should we have these dinosaurs? And it seems they're going to do it again in June 2021. What do you guys think of this?
This is what I'm calling. I'm calling that in this Jurassic World 2, they get the dinosaurs off the island, and then while they're getting them, they're transporting them. In 3, I bet shit hits the fan and they're all over the United States.
Oh,
that is
God.
my clear-cut guess of what's going to happen. And it's unfortunate of how much this franchise is being milked. It's really unfortunate for someone who the first one is one of my favorite movies. I am just so...
Jurassic Park, you're saying?
Jurassic World. Just I'm tired of
Oh.
these movies. They're done. The story's been told.
Yeah.
How many times can this happen?
I am not a fan of the Jurassic Park series because of how many there were after the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work, Ryan. You can't open a theme park with dinosaurs over and over and over and over and over again thinking it is going to work, because it is not.
No.
And now this movie this summer is going to be stupid, and then next June.
Let's do the hypothetical though that like this one's let's say it like surprises
good.
the hell out of us and it's good. Does the opinion change? It still doesn't change for me.
No, because they're still making another movie about dinosaurs in the theme park. If they can change it, I'm in. But they've made 6 of these movies now. Or, no, 5.
This will be the 6th.
This will be 6.
Right.
Yeah.
And it hasn't worked once.
No.
After the first one, they haven't worked.
Bring back Stevie Spellburgers.
Dude, and that's the thing, too. Colin Navarro is that his name? Trevorrow.
He just directed the first one.
Directed the first one, is about to direct this one.
No, he's not. He's not doing this one.
I thought he wrote it.
He's a producer. He might have wrote it, but he's not directing it.
I'm just glad that they got J.J. Abrams for episode 9.
Yeah.
Let me say that.
Of Star Wars.
Of Star Wars,
Yeah,
because Trevorrow was going to be the director of episode 9, and they just booted him and got J.J. Abrams back,
Yeah.
probably because this movie's going to be a disaster.
Well, maybe they're going to get JJ on Jurassic World episode 9. You know? I mean, with the way it's going, we're going to get an episode 9 here.
They could.
Dude, JJ can just do fine. Like, he plays it so safe. Like, he'd do fine. Like,
He'd just do the first one again.
He'd bring back Sam Neill and he'd bring back Laura Dern. Like, he would make a good movie.
Mm-hmm. They just keep
There we go.
Well, he'd bring back Dr. Grant and kill him off.
Yeah.
they just
Go
keep
ahead.
doing the same thing. Just we've got these dinosaurs, but should we have them? And then it goes bad, and they're like, oh, we shouldn't. And then the next movie happens.
I think this franchise is clearly the one in movies today that is so clearly just marketing and all about the blockbuster and no story. I think that's what this is just becoming, is let's milk this cash cow. And when it's noticeable, it kind of irritates me.
Yeah.
Because you're getting my money.
But coming this May, you'll hear our review of Jurassic Park 2 Electric Boogaloo.
We're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, what's our next story?
Well, just a few weeks after Super Mario, he's a plumber, for the uninitiated. Nintendo's guy was getting a movie. Now Sega's guy is getting a movie. Sonic the Hedgehog has a movie coming out set for
Come on. Someone erase the thing.
It was me. 2019 or something.
I think November 2019. Yep.
To fucking slap in the theaters.
Yeah. So Sonic the Hedgehog is coming out in 2019. I'm just gonna rehash my same opinion from the Mario movie. It's not gonna work. Just video game movies don't work. And from the reports, Tim Miller, director of Deadpool 1, is the executive producer on this film, and it's supposed to be a mixture of live action and CGI. I don't know what the hell that means, but that doesn't sound like a good idea for a Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Sonic's gonna get flushed into the real world, and it's gonna get so wacky what he does because he just goes so fast.
And
Dan.
Neil Patrick Harris is going to be there.
The Smurfs movie.
This is a Smurfs reference.
God.
Yeah.
They finally went back on the last Smurfs movie and just retconned all the live action stuff. Thank
Yeah.
God. They should do that with Sonic if they're gonna make a movie. This is a bad idea.
Yeah.
What are they going for? Who's to say? But bad decision I think on their part.
See, Dr. Eggman, that's his name, right?
The villain of
Eggman?
Sonic, yeah.
I thought Shadow was the villain.
No, Shadow's a good guy. Shadow's like an anti-hero.
Oh. I was about to. My whole thing was going to be centered on Shadow killing Sonic.
Oh, nope.
So
Wrong guy.
I'll kick it to you because I have nothing to say.
Yeah, this video game movies shouldn't happen. And when they're with the cute ones that have been the faces of video games for like 30 years, when we're talking about Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, that's not what the movie's about. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games is a video game from Beijing 2008, I think they made that game for. And you could do the javelin throw with Sonic.
That game was fun.
It was.
But what of the film, Dan?
Well, like if they're gonna do this live action thing, are they gonna have the speedy, loopy tracks like on the streets of Chicago or something like that?
I don't know. I'm really not excited.
And
for
like
it.
Kevin Hart is gonna be the voice of Tails.
He keeps doing the same thing in all the animated movies and actually all the movies he's in too.
I'd actually say he works better as an animated voice actor.
Voice
than he
acting works
does
for him,
as-
dude. He and Thomas Middleditch and Captain Underpants were fantastic.
So funny.
We watched Captain Underpants during the week. It was an animated film based off the novels by Dov Pilkey.
Novels. That makes it sound like so high up.
Yeah.
But it's just
But
like
the
fart
Captain
jokes.
Underpants movie was actually pretty funny. So you should watch that, but I don't know. Maybe don't watch Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, we're gonna pay to see it.
Yeah.
Fuck this Sonic the Hedgehog movie and give us a Captain Underpants sequel.
In on that. Yeah, big time in on that. Before there's a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, there should be a Captain Underpants too. I am in on that.
That's all I got on this.
Are we
Yeah,
done?
yeah.
What's next? They're gonna
We're going back to video games.
Detective Pikachu got like a trailer, and I thought it was gonna be the Ryan Reynolds version. They're releasing like a new Detective Pikachu like game
Yeah.
to kind of like coincide with the movie. And it just looks stupid, dude. Like the
Why?
video game itself. Like
Imagine.
Pikachu has like a 30-year-old like grungy New York accent.
What?
It is odd.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you. This is for the video game.
That's awful.
I know.
All right. Well, that's
Well,
clearly
Ryan
like,
Reynolds is going to be the voice of him at some point in
How
time.
is this gonna work?
I have no idea. It's like seeing Pikachu say things other than Pika Pika is just odd.
No,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, our next segment.
We're going back to the video games.
Yeah, we are going back to the video games. These recurring topics just keep coming back. These recurring topics are just recurring.
boomerang, if you will.
Yeah, they just seem to go one way, but then they keep coming back. It's like Old Yeller, not Old Yeller.
No, he dies.
Yeah, he gets shot.
Hil-
Homeward,
Hilarious.
Bound. That's a great movie. Homeward Bound.
Talking animal movie with Michael J. Fox.
Yes.
Pig is a movie about a pig.
Where are we?
Or
Get
Babe.
straight
Babe.
now.
Babe. Pig.
That'll do. That'll do, pig. All right, but they just keep boomeranging back for some reason. I don't know. It's a recurring segment. But Desert Island, and as we were scrambling our eggs to figure out what we were gonna do, we decided to do Desert Island video game because we hadn't
We hadn't planned this.
we hadn't really thought of anything else, but we knew it was coming because the recurring segments just seem to keep recurring.
Yeah.
So, the question is, Desert Island video game. What video game on what console would you play? over and over and over and over and
That was
over
so
again.
spaced out.
Yeah.
I know how to keep the drama pumping.
Yeah, I didn't know what you were gonna say next.
Mm.
I'll start. Yeah. Well, I think considering like it's your only thing there, I'm gonna pick something that I could play a lot of, and I've played a lot of hours of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. I played 8 days total of in-game hours, and I could put more in, because I there's a lot of different ways you could play the game, but it's one of those where there's always something to do, lots of places to go, lots of things to explore, and it's a pretty game. And so I'm going with that. It's like a fantasy kind of exploration game.
And you get to murder and poach dragons.
Yeah, that too.
And just like with the choices at the beginning of the game, like you can play a different game every time
Yeah.
with how much that there is to do.
So I'm going to go with that, because I have played it too much, and I would play it more.
You get to customize the look of your character. That's
Yeah.
always cool. And then you get to pick if you want to be, what is it, a warrior, mage, or...
Yeah, you get like all the
Someone.
different, you can
Yeah.
fight in a million different ways and be like different races. And people will actually treat you differently if you're a certain race.
That's right.
It doesn't severely affect the game, but I kind of like the detail. There's a lot of attention to detail.
can be
There's
a-
a lot to
well,
get out
You
for
can be
the
a
rest of your
cat
life.
person.
Yeah.
You could be a cat person.
What happened to me a lot is I'd be walking around and some guy'd be like, hey, watch where you're going. And I'd take out my sword and murder him. And then I'd
a lot of
have
fun.
a massive bounty on me and die.
Couldn't you have a flamey-wamey sword?
A sword that has flames?
Yeah.
That's correct, yes.
I remember the flamey-wamey sword. The flamey-wamey sword was in Oblivion, though. I remember
Yeah.
having it in Oblivion.
The
Elder Scrolls
predecessor,
4.
yeah,
Yeah.
of that
Elder
game.
Scrolls 4.
You could also have an icy wicey sword.
Yeah.
Those were also in the game. Those are fun too.
See, I always called it an icy splicey sword.
Well, I mean, they certainly do splice, but they're also wicing devices.
I agree. I agree on the Weissing devices.
What's your game, Mike?
My favorite game ever is The Last of Us in terms of story, and it has really fun crafting, and it's great. But it's not the most replayable game. And that's what I always come back to when we talk about movies or albums. It's what can you do the most? And what I can do the most is Red Dead Redemption. You can play blackjack in Red Dead Redemption. So imagine being so bored on this island that you're tired of just riding on your horse and murdering and stealing and doing all this shit. And instead you just want to play Five Finger Fillet or blackjack for 2 hours. You can do that and get competitive. Red Dead is so in depth, and on the Xbox 360 you said console. That's what I had it on. That's what I'd play it on. So, yeah, the storyline's great in that. A ton of side missions. It's fun collecting all the outfits. So, yeah, I love that game.
You definitely could sink hours into that. Like our friend Trevor that we have, I would go on Xbox with him, and I'd be playing something for like 3 hours, and he'd be on Red Dead Redemption, and I ask him, "What have you been doing this whole time?" He's like, "Oh, I've been playing blackjack for 3 hours." It's like you can truly get lost in a minuscule part of the game, because that's not what it's about at
Yeah.
all. It's kind of cool that they went that hard in even the littlest parts of it.
Or you can do what Dan does and murder horses.
I love shooting
You just-
horses in that game.
Yeah,
What's so
It's
satisfying?
He takes out the
funny.
shotgun and blows the horse's head off.
It's so funny.
It does make a good noise.
It goes.
Yeah.
And you're riding it. It's just running forward, and it doesn't know it's
Yeah.
got a gun to the back of its head, and then you kill it.
There's a freedom of choice
Oh,
in
it's
that game.
fantastic.
My favorite is hog tying people and putting
putting
them
them on the
train
railroad
tracks,
track.
and they like explode when the train runs over them. You get an achievement for doing it to a woman.
Yeah.
It's kind of fucked up.
That is. That really is.
Oh, video games.
Great game.
Where would we be
Yeah.
without them?
That's a great pick. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But you got to play it on the Xbox too, because it's broken on the PlayStation a little bit.
Really?
Yes. Well, they later patched it, but like at
It was
first
buggy.
it was bad. Same thing for Skyrim. I didn't know we were doing consoles too, but Xbox.
Yeah.
You know what was also fun? Is when you could do the executions if you're close enough to someone in Red Dead. You run up, you
Yeah,
put
and
the
it
shotgun
plays a
under their
little like
chin, and
cut scene, like it puts the camera at like a low angle, and then you just you just run up. It would see John Marston run up behind him and just blow his head off from point blank.
Very violent game.
Oh yeah. You know, I thought I had one like straight up, and I still might go into it, but I had to think about like recent games as well. Legend of Zelda Skyrim is is Breath of the Wild. Is like a new. It just won Game of the Year at the Dice Awards. It was Game of the Year for IGN. It was like it's just an incredible game that I've had so much fun with just through one playthrough so far. Like there's so many things to do in it and everything. Like that could be a fun game, but I don't know if I'm going with that. Fortnite, the new hit. Um, that's addiction at its finest. I swear to God, like it is the huge craze right now, and I don't see it like dying anytime soon, even though it's been popular for like 6 months now.
It's so simplistic, but
It's
so
so
good.
simplistic, but when you die, you can get back into another match in 5 seconds.
That's pretty good.
And so you just are baited to keep going until you win. It is like
And
if
then
you
you don't win.
if you have to pay money for this game, like if there were stakes in it, like it is gambling.
So they
It
keep you
is.
in a constant loop of stimulus. Is that why people like it so much?
I think so. Well, and it's fun. Like it's a
Yeah,
good
well,
game.
that too, but-
Yeah.
It's
Frustrating
looped.
too.
Yeah. But it is big time looped.
That's kind of crazy. Like people keep figuring out how to keep our attention on it like a screen now. It's crazy how they've been able to knock it to a science now.
I've always said like the Hunger Games should be made into a video game. Fortnite
Fortnite's
is
like
basically
that,
the
yeah.
Hunger Games.
Oh, that's cool. That's a
Yeah.
good pitch for it in an elevator.
Mm-hmm. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, Fortnite's awesome.
Well, is that a recurring topic?
That's not.
But I
Yeah,
don't think-
that's not what you picked, was it?
No.
Oh, then what? Yeah, what was it?
Yeah,
Sorry,
we just
I thought
started
that was
talking
it.
about Fortnite. No.
Yeah.
You said it like it was.
Yeah. But I just gotta go. It is my favorite video game series of all time, and I do replay them constantly. So, and I don't get bored. But if I've got my PS4, I can have the entire Kingdom Hearts like series in one game.
Mhm.
So I think I'm going the Kingdom Hearts like HD remix. I have the whole series, so it's not just it's 6 games in one. I can just play 6 games.
It's a good pick.
It's great. I get my entire favorite video game series of all time in one disc, and I can just keep playing through those, and I won't get bored of it.
Is that not considered manipulating the system?
Because it was video game.
Yeah,
Wasn't
and
it?
I have the Uncharted collection, which is like 3 games in one.
Yeah, it's on
But I
one.
wouldn't-
It's on one disc, but you didn't pick it. You could've
That's
picked
true,
it.
and it's also titled the Uncharted collection.
Yeah.
So-
That's a gray area, but I think
Yeah,
that's fair.
I'll let it
Yeah.
slide.
If
I'm
it's
not
on one,
against- I
if
was
it's
just
on one
curious.
disc, but like if I had to pick one game on the disc, it'd be Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We all know your love for that.
Yeah.
Big time. But Mike and I have never played them.
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever will.
You can get the entire series on the PlayStation Store right now for $20.
20
It's a
bucks.
timing issue.
I hardly have time to play the games I already own.
Gang Beast. Gang Beast is a good one.
That is you need friends on your desert island for that. And I would have eaten you guys by the time we want to play video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to kill me.
Yeah.
Well, we said I'd be the worst meat out of all of us, right?
Well, probably. Definitely the most lean.
Yeah, it'd be shit.
Maybe the
I'd be shit
tastiest, but
meat.
not the most amount of meat.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Desert island.
De-
food.
each other.
Desert Island
Friend you wanna eat?
Friend you want to eat.
That's next week. Or next month.
Doesn't.
What?
What?
I was just trying to think of like who like looks delicious, like who I would eat.
I never have that
No.
impulse when I'm walking in public. I'm like, I would eat that guy.
Like, that
You know, you
person-
really got to see a
That
psychologist.
person looks like they taste good.
Now, D, is it racist if we don't eat this guy?
Is that all we have on desert islands?
Yeah. So those are our Desert Island video games. We got Skyrim, Red Dead 2.
No,
No, not
Dead
Red Dead.
Redemption.
Red
It's not
Dead
even-
2 hasn't come out yet, nor has Kingdom Hearts 3, nor has The Elder Scrolls 6.
Not the sequels.
Yeah. Yeah, so not the sequels to the games, but the predecessors. So let us know if you're a gamer, or if you're not. I don't know. Pick one. If you were stuck on a desert island and video games worked, which one would you pick? Even if you're not a gamer, just pick one. It could be any one.
Yeah.
And let us know. There's going to be a lot of commenting this week because coming up after our movie review, we got some stuff to talk about. But let's get into that movie review.
That's right. We saw a movie this week. We saw Annihilation, which is directed by Alex Garland, who you might know from Ex Machina. Annihilation follows a group of military scientists who enter the Shimmer, a mysterious quarantine zone that is full of mutating landscapes and creatures. It stars Natalie Portman, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Tessa Thompson, and Oscar Isaac. Let's jump into the positives.
I'll go both feet in. When this movie ended, I was like mesmerized and I was riding high off how good the ending was. And then I sat back a little bit and started actually analyzing it. I liked it. I think it definitely has some flaws that are easy to pick out, but there is so much visual glamour in this movie that I think it's very easy to get seduced into the world. It felt like an apocalypse movie when they're inside the Shimmer, and that was my favorite part of it. Is the atmosphere was so good, and the direction, the visuals, and the soundtrack, they all mixed together really well to create this unique feeling. And I just loved how, it may not be the best sci-fi movie ever, but it's another one that comes out that kind of breathes new life into this world. And I thought Natalie Portman was good. We'll get into the rest of the cast later. But in terms of technicality, I thought the movie was really, really spectacular. The story we'll get into later, but yeah, the last act of this movie was phenomenal, and the atmosphere, as I said, had me hook, line, and sinker for most of the movie.
Dan?
The visuals in this film were incredible, and as was the main story. I was captivated the whole time. Natalie Portman was awesome. I was very supportive of her as she went into this role. It was a big deal for her, so I'm happy that she did really well.
Your
in it.
wife.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Um, the ending was awesome. And the ending is the best part of the movie. But to be able to reach the climax too, like it had me wanting to see the end the whole time because it was building up. There were so many questions, and then they get answered, and it's great. You mentioned the soundtrack. I don't know if the movie has a soundtrack,
I've already started listening to it.
but like a lot of the sounds are like are diegetic.
Yes, there's a guitar strum that's the most consistent soundtrack
Yeah.
throughout it.
Yeah, but a lot of the sounds that like are funky, like weird sci-fi sounds are diegetic, meaning they're in the universe of the
Right.
movie.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that because a lot of the eerie silences provided a lot of like the
Tension.
yeah, the tension of the film, and it all added into to keeping you moving along, and with Portman and the story and the ending, it was awesome. But negatives are soon to come after Ryan's positives.
It was, as you guys say, the ending left you in such like a weird kind of funk afterward. This is very much one of those sci-fi movies that keeps you thinking after you get out. And it's very interesting because this kind of seems like it's based off a book that's the first in its series, but the nature of the mission for why they enter this shimmer, it's almost like it was a sequel. And I was saying on the ride home, like this almost is like a sequel because they're following what just happened. It's like John Carpenter's The Thing, in that this is following the previous events. We enter the movie and then find out what happened beforehand in this shimmer. There were missions that went into it that went a little awry, and it was really cool. And it kept you thinking, and you think you know where it's going, and then it kind of just leaves you. It's an ambiguous kind of tone, and it raises questions about even like marriage quality.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to think about and take away from this movie, and
Guilt.
it's psychological.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very psychological and pretty, as you guys said.
Yeah, for a sci-fi, the sci-fis that always stand out are the ones that have human themes, and those are definitely present in this movie. Yeah. But
What are the cons?
the cons, there were two cons that stuck out to me. The first one was apparent very early on into the movie, and I realized there wasn't a lot of ways around it because of how complex the plot is, but there is so much expositional dialogue in this movie that we have to explain this from a scientific point of view. And I realize that's really tough to do, but it happened a lot. And in turn, by doing that, the pacing slowed a lot. Up until the last act, there were some times when I was just like, let's get it moving. The first act of this movie is incredibly slow. But yeah, my biggest issue was definitely with the expositional dialogue. And the second one was, besides Natalie Portman and maybe Oscar Isaac, an argument can be made, I felt that Jennifer Jason Leigh, Tessa Thompson, and Gina Rodriguez, the rest of the group that goes in with her, I felt like they were all pretty one note, and their resolutions were also pretty unfulfilling most of the time. So I didn't care a lot about a lot of the characters other than Natalie Portman. She was just a badass and she could do it all. And although I do compliment that they made her a flawed character in this movie.
Yeah.
I really like that. But the rest of the characters I couldn't get into.
Yeah, she was well written and she acted well. Everybody else, see, I'd say they do a pretty good job of getting you to care about the characters, all of them. But other than Natalie Portman and maybe Oscar Isaac, like, the acting was all just kind of bad. And that might be the actors might have fallen victim to poor writing because the dialogue wasn't good, but like Jennifer Jason Leigh was terrible in this movie, in my opinion. Like, she was just so dry, and sure, you could say like, oh, that's her character, but every time she spoke, it was just bad. And like you said, expositional dialogue, her character was the most
Her
like
reasoning for being there, I was like, that's it?
yeah.
They set her up as this kind of like mysterious, powerful
Yeah.
figure, and I was like,
Like,
that's it?
and the way they played it out, like, it was just like, okay, maybe we're gonna get an explanation for why Jennifer Jason Leigh, an Oscar nominee, is acting terribly, but you don't. And she was bad in it, and same goes for a few of the others, like Valkyrie and the other one are.
Valkyrie was actually okay.
She
I
was
like
decent,
Tessa
yeah.
Thompson. She was all right.
Yeah, like, but just the dialogue just didn't go anywhere. Like, more than one occasion in the movie, like the group in the shimmer, like, their goal is to get to the center of it and study it and figure out why it exists. And Jennifer Jason Leigh's character is like constantly like, we got to keep moving, and I'm going to go by myself if I want to. And then she'll leave the scene by herself because she's going to accomplish the mission. And then the rest will just follow her and she's back in the movie again.
Yeah.
Like, there were several occasions where she just left and went off by herself in this creature-filled shimmer and nothing happens to her.
You know what I originally thought she was going to be like? I thought she was going to have some Captain Ahab in her.
Yeah.
And she didn't.
No. She was bad. She was bad. Dialogue, this movie wasn't the best written movie, and unfortunately, like, it's just the whole movie couldn't be saved by the stunning visuals and the end. Actually, you know what? It is saved by it. It is saved by it. By the end, the way the story finishes, like, the end is incredible. I was awed by the end. But, like, to get there, the story was interesting, but the acting wasn't that good other than Natalie Portman. And I'm not just saying that because she's my wife either. She actually was really good in this movie.
Yeah. Most of the bad dialogue shine through I would say poopy grade development for characters, in that there were several of these scenes where the character would explain, they'd be like, oh, I had a traumatic moment in my past, and because of this I am unhinged emotionally, but good night. And
that's exactly what happens.
And Natalie Portman would inorganically explain their findings of what's going on when they could have easily done it more visually and relied on because this is so strong in visuals, they should have relied on visuals to explain it, because they had some cool scenes with microscope slides because she's a biologist. Use that to explain it. These are all other scientists with you, so have them communicate scientifically and don't just hide your findings. They should have discussed it. It's so spoon fed, and it's so pretty that you kind of forget about it. But several moments I was just like, this is awful with this dialogue. Like, this is so bad. But oh, look, it's very pretty. There's some cool flowers. So I thought it was poopy grade dialogue. Some performances were poopy, and character development very bad. Yeah. I think, except Natalie Portman probably had the strongest. I think we could all agree on that.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Yeah. You guys got anything else?
No, I really did like this movie, but some people I think are overhyping it a little bit too much. I think, and that's partly because of the female-led cast that sometimes tends to happen. Ex Machina is a better movie.
Yeah.
Which Alex Garland also did.
I don't know. I also don't know if the movie gave a sufficient reason for why they were all female. I had thought they were all female because maybe the Shimmer would not have reacted well because they were female. I don't think they said that once, and that would have been a better explanation. They just were female because that's the team.
You know what I had a feeling of is I kind of wish, and I know it's from source material, but source material gets altered. I kind of wish that they were the first expedition and there were more characters in there in different groups going in different directions, and they're bouncing back and forth between all this shit happening, and it comes to the lighthouse at the end. I think that could have been maybe how I would have approached it.
Yeah, but like you said, source material. I haven't read the book, so maybe they were like incredibly accurate to the book. But if the book's dialogue is that bland, I don't know if I want to read it.
Do you think we're getting a sequel?
I had heard that was happening.
I'd see it.
I'd watch it too, and that's the thing about this movie is I'll definitely watch it again. But like understanding its flaws, like I know that part of the experience, a lot of the experience is finding out what happens to the end. Because now maybe it's kind of like The Sixth Sense or Shutter Island, where I know what happens in the end, to where like I don't know if I'd sit down and watch it every time it's on, but I definitely want to see it again.
I want to see if there's any hint. Like I want to notice more hints throughout, because I
see
definitely think
now that I'm like looking back on it, yeah, there were. So that's the thing. Like a lot of the mystery is solved at the end, which is a good like mystery telling like tale. But were you cracking your back?
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if you were looking at something.
Sorry to distract you.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah.
What's our scores, guys?
I'm at a 3.5. I liked it. Now I will rewatch it, but I thought it was a little overrated.
Yeah, I'm going 3.5 as well. Just and I think I was at like a 2.8 before the end of the film. But the end of the film was really awesome, and it moved me up to a 3.5. And once I was able to absorb it a little more, it is a 3.5. It was decent, but its flaws are definitely evident.
Yeah, I'm also at a 3.5.
Okay, cool.
It's the kind of sci-fi we need, but there was just some poor execution. But the rest outweighs it, and I think it definitely earned the score. We're giving it a 3.5.
It's getting a lot of people talking, which is really cool. There's a lot of debate for it, and what people said was this movie's gonna divide people. Some people are gonna hail it, and some people are gonna be like, "This movie sucked." I could see both sides of it. I could see people disliking this movie.
Yeah.
I could also see people loving it. So yeah.
This is a 3.5.
Where would Goldblum have fit?
Jennifer fucking Jason Leigh, because she was awful. If Jeff Goldblum could have had much more life to the character that Jennifer Jason Leigh failed to give it.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's maybe he plays Dan.
He could play Dan. He could play the role that Benedict Wong was in as the guy interviewing.
I laughed the first time Benedict Wong
I
came on
love
screen.
him. He's awesome.
He was just standing there, and like I went like.
Yeah, you laughed in the theater.
Because he was just standing there. Okay, so an NBA All-Star Weekend was this past week, and they had these like team pictures, and there was this picture of Klay Thompson, and there was like this funny caption for it, and the picture of Benedict Wong standing there reminded me of this picture of Klay Thompson just awkwardly standing with his arms in his because that's what it was like. And the picture's captured like, "Hey, my friend's over there. He wants to talk to you." And it's like,
It's one of those 13-year-old kid, like, I don't know how to pose in a photo yet type things.
Yeah.
He just was positioned funny. But, yeah.
3.5.
Movie. Yeah. 3.5.
Annihilation.
Mm-hmm.
Annihilation.
Well, for our main topic this week, this is our 52nd episode, and it is a year anniversary of Creatively Challenged. This is kind of cool. We made it far.
Do you know there are 52 weeks in a year, Ryan?
Is there?
Yeah.
Well, there's 52 episodes because we did this every week. And
There's no slacking.
a year ago, we quit our stupid radio show, and here we are.
We did.
That show was stupid.
Our
radio show.
our
show was
So is my thoughts on it.
our show wasn't stupid. We had a lot of good content. When that content was interrupted by a weatherman and a bitchy producer who wanted to take over the show and talk about Lady Gaga, that made the show stupid. Our material, on the other hand, was not stupid.
We should have never went into a controlled environment when we wanted creative freedom in the first place.
Right.
And we live in a time when we could just submit whatever you want online. So this should have been our first thought, but it seemed hard. And then we were in a situation where we had to act hard.
At the time, we were kicking around the idea, like maybe we wanted to do a podcast, but you and I were at the radio station, and we're like, no, we'll stick to this. And then the same night we quit, we bought these mics and that little thing there.
It was that night.
It was that night.
Jesus.
We saw Lego Batman that night.
Yeah, that's right. Which I feel like that kind of went under the radar. That movie, not unrelated to a year.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Lego Batman. The Lego movie was way better.
Yeah.
But Lego Batman is watchable.
Animated movies have been trying to redo that since, it seems.
Redo the Lego movie.
That kind of honest adult fun in Lego movie where it's fun for adults and kids alike.
Yeah.
I feel like that they've been trying to catch up with that kind of humor.
That movie is so good on rewatch
Yeah.
too. And
Yeah.
fucking Liam Neeson is good cop, bad cop.
It's been good.
Morgan Freeman as like God or whatever.
He gets decapitated
Yeah, he
by
does.
Will Ferrell.
He was just like a grand wizard.
And
dude.
his like
He looked like
his
that.
wizard staff,
Vitruvius.
his
Yes.
his wizard staff is like a eating lollipop.
Yeah. It was so cool.
Yeah.
It hasn't been the same with the Lego movie since either,
My,
unfortunately.
my favorite line in the movie is Will Ferrell goes, "You think you're special? No one ever said I was some special little snowflake."
Yeah. But it was that night we quit. We bought the mics and we watched we bought the mics, we watched John Wick 1, and then we saw the Lego movie, and then in the week we were waiting for our stuff to come, we went and saw John Wick 2.
You and I did, yeah.
Which we didn't review on the podcast because then we did it. And then so really this story happens a year ago and a week ago. And then this week, our first show, we talked about the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
We talked box office stuff, which
No
That
one cares.
died
didn't work. That
quickly.
died
Yeah.
quick. I don't even think it was in episode 2.
You know what that was? It was being like, oh, this is what's out right now. But that was immediately defeated because we see what's out right now.
Yeah.
Right.
The week of.
And honestly, whoever talks about like box office results as like a conversation thing, oh, you see Lego Batman pulled in $500 million on its opening weekend. It's like, you're really fun, guy.
Idiots like
Yeah.
us in our first episode.
Yeah.
But then we had the French fry dilemma, in which we debated which French fry was the best to keep consistency after a year.
It's the curly fry.
I can't even remember what we decided, but
No, we all had our own.
okay. Well, you were a curly fry proponent.
I was curly fry. Were you waffle fry?
I was on Team Waffle Fry.
Yeah, you were waffle fry because you talked about scooping things.
We talked
Scoop
about
it
we
like
talked
a
about a
spoon.
lot, but I think my initial one was sweet potato fry.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It's almost like we're different people with different tastes.
Yeah.
Mike, how did you feel? How do you feel with it being a year?
It's cool, and I've said it so many times that it's a fun hobby to do You know, it's better than just sitting around and playing video games. It's fun to actually be productive, go see a movie, put a docket together of quite a few different things that actually requires some thought, and it's fun to like talk about it with you guys. And what I actually really enjoy the most is the anticipation we sometimes have of like we hear news but we don't talk about it all throughout the week because we want it to be organic on the podcast. And I really enjoy that. I think it forces us to think creatively.
And sometimes it's challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd say that.
What's a phrase we could call that, or it's like a podcast title we could call that?
I don't know. We'll have to think about it.
What were the other ideas for our title that we had?
That's what I was about to think of. I couldn't remember.
I know you had one that was like close to what we've got now. You said curiously optimistic.
Cautiously
optimistic, which is like a good phrase. I don't know why we didn't roll with that.
We just pinned down creatively challenged because I think it was a little more funny.
Alliteration.
Yeah.
But
what were the other
cautiously optimistic was like the one that was really close.
I don't think we had any other like titles together.
We had like 5, but honestly, it's been a year of creatively challenged. I don't care what else we were gonna call the show.
Yeah.
It was just interesting because you get all your stuff for it and you know what you want to do for the show, and then it's like, well, what the hell is this called?
Right. And we've shortened it for social media purposes to the CC podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We got a new logo rolling out.
Yep, we do.
Got some shit.
That's a brand new surprise. We have a new logo coming out this week. You guys will see it. It'll be the new image of this podcast when you look down at your phone when you're listening to it. That'll be the image for it. We're going to plaster it on our social media pages. And we've kind of got a new style of fonts that we're going to use on those pages as well. So we're very excited about that. We're getting a fresh new look for our second year of Creatively Challenged going forward. I just really enjoy how far we've come because our early episodes, going back and listening to those, like we've improved a lot at doing what we do and talking about what we talk about, and like introducing new things and new ideas. The last couple of months we've been doing the recurring topics, and that was awesome because before then, like we'd kind of just like we've got episodes that are like 48 minutes, which is fine, but like, you know, I like that we have staples now. Like there's substance, there's an essence to our podcast. Like our listeners know what they're going to get when they listen to us and what we talk about with the movie review, the news before it, the recurring topic in between, and then the discussion topic at the end. I think we've got a pretty good formula going here, and I'm glad that we've adapted to this point. And then if there's any more adaptation to go, then that'll happen in year 2.
There better be.
Yeah.
You know what we learned to do? We learned to talk to each other and not talk to the mic. Big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could find a lot of, like, you see it in a lot of different, like, shows even. You got, like, 6 people around a table and everyone's just trying to yell their thing. Like, it's just my argument. It's not a discussion.
Yeah.
A lot of podcasts are great about that now where people will sit down for, like, 3 hours max and just
shoot the shit.
Yeah, have a talk. I think the less you think about how it's a structured show, the better it goes. Usually, would you guys say that it feels that way?
Yeah, we've definitely gotten more comfortable with getting off topic too recently, and we always reel it back, but we've gotten much better at that.
Because we know each other's limits. You know, I mean, like we could come on here and be stenographers and just be monotonous and just read off of cards that we got and just randomly talk, but we're best friends. We're humans. We sit here in front of mics every week. And we have fun. This, like Mike said, it's a fucking hobby. Or it's a hobby you fuck, which my brother wants to be our new slogan, which very well could be. I enjoy it. But it's a hobby, and we're able to put mics down in front of us and have a conversation that we'd normally have without a podcast, but this is just a medium for us to do it and to share with other people. So I'm just happy that we have it. Happy that we made it a year as well. This is awesome.
Because I mean, if we didn't have this podcast, we would just be talking about this in like our living room about movie news.
Yeah, but then also in like regular conversation as well. To like mention cinematography and talk about the score and the sound and stuff like that. Like that almost gets lost in regular conversation because it's just kind of like, oh, did you like that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, like yeah, I liked the movie or I didn't like the movie. Like being able to break it down and be like actual like legitimate movie reviewers.
Yeah.
Force yourself to think about it in terms of,
Right.
you know, and think about it like you're studying homework, like studying for a test or something.
Instead of knee jerks, because like one of my favorite things that I've ever seen was Roger Ebert, R.I.P. and peace to him. But when he saw Shawshank in '94 initially, like I think he gave it 3 stars, and on his 4 star like rating, like he reviewed it again in like 2003, and then gave it a perfect 4 and explained why he was wrong before. And it took time to think that like he hadn't watched it since 1994. And like when he watched it again, he's like, I was really wrong about this movie. Like it is way better than I thought it was. And instead of just like knee jerking reactions, I enjoy that we give ourselves time as well. One movie we saw the same day that we recorded the podcast was Atomic Blonde.
We did it for Life too.
Oh yeah,
Life was the first episode we introduced the Goldblum scale as well.
that's right.
Negative score.
And yeah,
Life sucks.
the first Life was terrible. The first episode we had the Goldblum scale was a bad movie, which is great. We had some other scale that we were gonna call the creatively challenged.
Can I say something
scale.
too? Since like November, movies have been fucking great.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
been really consistent
Big time.
Yeah.
recently.
What was the last bad review we gave?
Keep talking. I'll find it.
Yeah, but like we had the Goldblum scale for Life, and The Mummy is definitely the lowest score we've ever given.
Yeah.
You guys saw Mother. I didn't see that. It was at the
Yeah, we
beginning of
didn't like-
last
we didn't
semester.
dig
That
on
might have
you
been the
guys
lowest
didn't.
score I've given. If I'm thinking
Mummy
about
was
No,
definitely,
Mummy was definitely
my
the
least.
lowest
Oh, yeah.
My lowest.
it. I'm still looking.
It's okay. It's no
Yeah.
rush.
I feel like.
But the
it is.
Goldblum system is the only system.
Oh, I love the Goldblum system. It's a great system. That was like something we literally came up with in the car on the way to the theater to go see Life.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Life, we were able to do it. But clearly, we don't review movies on the same day often. To wrap up my Roger Ebert story, is we're able to see a movie, indulge in it, and then give an honest score. Because after a movie, like you just be like, "Oh, that movie was awesome. It's a 4." And then like you think about it, and you're like, "You know what? That's like a 3.6."
There's a difference too.
Yeah.
Ryan, I can think of it now. The Post was the most divisive.
Oh, I was looking for lowest.
Oh, lowest ever
Lowest was Justice League at 2.1
of recent.
Since November, you mean?
that I could find.
Yeah. Yeah. Then
Justice League was
that's
the worst.
correct. Yeah.
But most divisive between us.
Well, no, not most divisive between us. I'm just saying, like, as of recently, that's what I thought of. But then it was Justice League. And
I gotcha.
thanks for looking.
Well, I gave Pirates of the Caribbean a 3. Mike gave it a 2, and you gave it a 1.
Fucking didn't like it. It was dumb.
And
I'd go lower.
And
Yeah.
I'd go lower on reminiscing. About 1.5.
And I gave Justice League 3.5, and that comes out on Blu-ray this week, and I don't think I'm gonna purchase it, but I would like to watch it again, see if that score changes. But that's the life of a movie reviewer. Even if we give time to like think about a score, this is just like our opinion as well. I mean, we're guys in front of mics. I'd call us a reliable source for films because we do put our time and effort into this, but like it's all right to disagree with people. You can have your own opinion of a movie. That's why we ask you guys for your opinion. We want to know what you think of the movies that we see. And if you want to, if you think we're wrong, tell us why we're wrong. If you think we're right, tell us why you agree with us. Like that, and that's a big thing here.
Yeah.
You know, we want to have a good show with an audience that enjoys us and our movie reviews.
This has been like a yearly performance review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a little bit
How would you rate us overall, our first year on the Goldblum scale?
on the Goldblum scale.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so that's considering like the content improvement.
I'm at a 3.5.
Yeah, 3 or 3.5.
We've gotten a lot better.
Yeah,
I'm giving us a 5.
shows our confidence in our product.
I'm fair. You
Yeah,
know, I listen to the Joe Rogan Experience. I listen to a lot of those podcasts where they have millions of subscribers.
So
We're 3.5. We're
That's
doing
pretty-
well.
that's
We're
pretty
getting
good.
better. We'll be
Yeah.
a 5 next year.
I agree. Anything else on this?
No, I mean we appreciate all the listeners we've got over this first year, all the support that we've gotten. But we want to see that grow. We're going to do our best to grow here moving forward, and we just want to, thank anybody who's listening. This is incredible, a first year, and we hope the support keeps coming in. And got to talk about you guys responding to us. Like I said, we want to connect with you guys, so please connect with us going forward in the year 2.
Mike? Anything else?
No.
Anything else on your end, Dan?
We got to talk about the Golden Goldblum.
Well, that's what I was just saying.
Oh,
I thought we were finishing this topic.
That's
all I was doing.
Yeah.
But we're done with the topic?
Yeah, we're done with the
All
topic.
right. Guys, it's the yearly anniversary, and we've seen a lot of fucking movies, so it only makes sense that we do a Creatively Challenged Podcast award show. But that's not what we're calling it. We're calling it the Golden Goldblums, obviously, because Jeff Goldblum is our idol. And, we got 4 categories that we all put together by compromise and what was most popular, but we're leaving it to the audience to vote. We're gonna send this out to people we know and audience members who listen. So you're gonna be able to vote on it. We're gonna do we're gonna have 4 categories that you guys are gonna be able to vote on. We have the best soundtrack, which consists of Dunkirk, Blade Runner 2049, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Baby Driver, and Logan. Hans Zimmer is on there twice.
Mm-hmm.
He fucks.
He does.
And let's be honest, we're biased to Hans Zimmer on this podcast because he's the man.
We could talk about John Williams as well, but the only John Williams scored film we saw this year was Star Wars. But John Williams is cool too. Alexandre Desplat did the score for the last 3 Harry Potter films, and he did the score for Shape of Water.
That one was great.
Yeah.
I didn't put it on here, but I've been listening to it a lot. That one's really good.
Yeah.
And speaking of Shape of Water, one of the characters in Shape of Water is in our next category, which is the Grand Master Award for Best Villain. For those of you who don't know, Jeff Goldblum played the Grand Master in Thor Ragnarok, and he was the unanimous Best Villain this year. So we named the category after him. And for Best Villain, we have the Vulture, played by Michael Keaton in Spider-Man Homecoming, Pennywise from It, Hela from Thor Ragnarok, Buddy, played by John Hamm from Baby Driver, and Strickland, played by Michael Shannon from The Shape of Water, who tortures the creature from the Black Lagoon and sticks a cattle prod in him, and says to Sally Hawkins that he can make her squawk. Which is kind of fucked up. And then we have the Dr. Ian Malcolm Award for Best Hero. We have Logan from Logan, obviously, or Wolverine is probably how we should have said it.
Yeah.
Spider-Man from Spider-Man Homecoming, Wonder Woman, Kay from Blade Runner 2049, and Baby from Baby Driver again. And then finally we have Best Picture, which is a contest between Logan, Dunkirk, Baby Driver, Wonder Woman, Blade Runner 2049, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And the way we did that is we all have had differing opinions on our favorite movies this year. I mean, we all had our own top 5. But we took the mean of the highest scored movies throughout the year and put it on there. We thought that was the fairest way to do it for everybody. And those are the nominations for the Golden Goldblums, and we will have our winners next week. And obviously, if Michael Keaton wins for Spider-Man Homecoming, he'll obviously be on the podcast to accept the award. And yeah.
Unfortunately, Hugh Jackman won't be here to accept anything if he does win, because we've had sort of a personal dispute with him for a few months now.
He's still not over that?
No, he's being a child. Yeah.
He's lucky he made the nominations list.
Damn Australians.
They don't get over it.
No.
They don't get. But this now for the winners, we're not crowdsourcing this entirely, are we? Or the audience vote wins. Let's explain that a little more.
Well, yeah, we're just gonna most
Highest
votes wins.
Perfect.
Highest votes wins in
Okay.
each category. It's the fairest way.
So
to
it's
do
not
it.
just us deciding.
No.
Just
no,
making sure.
No, yeah, that would be unfair. No, it's audience completely. I mean, we'll vote on it,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll just tally up everything together.
Yeah, see where our votes end up.
Yeah.
Our polls for that will be on our Facebook page and our Twitter page. We'll be having links for that in our YouTube description, our SoundCloud description, and all that. So you can vote online. It's super easy.
Yeah.
Please do it.
We'll also have other people voting
Yeah.
if no one interacts like normal.
Yeah.
we'll still get it out there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna,
otherwise we're going to rig it.
Ask my like small classes and just like write these up on the board, and I'm gonna like ask my teacher if I can like if I can like do something really quick before class and just like have people put a tally next to the names.
Could work.
That
Yeah.
could definitely work.
But I'm gonna be sending these out as well. But
This is much better than us trying to predict the Oscars because in no way are we fucking experts on
gonna
how
know.
the Academy votes, and this is much better.
we were
We're
pretty
our,
close though.
we were
last year.
but we're our own Academy.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
We're more qualified.
Hollywood has disrespected us.
Like, and I was thinking about doing like, oh, best screenplay and best director, but I'm like, who are we to
Yeah,
say?
I haven't read any of these
Yeah.
screenplays,
Yeah,
so
yeah. So this is the most centralized way to do it.
absolutely. They're
Yeah.
very simple. Well, is that all we have on this?
That's it.
Yeah,
gotta
well,
go.
audience, you heard us. Get on the internets and your social medias and vote, because we want an honest score here. And if you heard out of our lists there, out of creatively challenged picks for hero, villain, soundtrack, and picture for the year, get on there and vote. And then you'll hear the results next week.
Any final thoughts?
No. Episode 53 next week. Start of a new year in
Mhm.
terms of the creatively challenged calendar. And what are we seeing?
I don't know.
I know Red Sparrow was coming out, but we said we weren't seeing it. I feel like there was something else that we wanted to see. Isle of Dogs isn't next week, is it?
Stall. I'm gonna look it up.
I think Isle of Dogs is the week after that.
That movie looks awesome.
I know.
Okay, so there's Red Sparrow or Death Wish.
Oh, we
Oh,
said
Death
Death
Wish, yeah.
We're gonna see Death Wish. That looks fun.
Bruce Willis in Death Wish.
Yeah,
Vincent D'Onofrio's in it.
So is Elizabeth Shue.
it could be cool.
So is Asac Schrader.
That's right. All actors that would have been better than Jennifer Jason Leigh in Annihilation.
That's right.
Mm.
All right, and that is this week's podcast. Remember that each and every Monday morning we upload to YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Give us a follow on Facebook and Twitter to keep up with what we're putting out there. And as always, thank you for listening.
Love you guys.
What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us.